Evening all, and welcome to episode 52 of Kerbalism. Now, I want to start out by saying sorry about the video quality of the last couple of episodes. I had updated OBS to the latest version, and Open Broadcast Software being the software I use to record videos, and it had reset all my settings back to the default YouTube settings, which aren't as good quality as what it should be for recording. They're good for streaming, but not for recording, so I fixed that. The first 10 minutes or so of this episode is old footage, so it will be of the lower quality, but after that we'll be back to normal. So yeah, sorry about that, I didn't notice. Anyway, we left our 3 brave Kerbals returning to Kerbal, and now they're safely back here. It's time to reap the rewards of their recovery. And somehow we managed to get 4.2 science. That's quite interesting. We got some funds back, and more importantly, there we are. Dottie, Alaris, and Kindred. He didn't get experience, but anyway, they've got level 1. We've got more reputation. We didn't get any rep for that, which is surprising, but anyway, that's put us to 1,000 there, and 1,000 science, and 2.2 million Kerbal buck things, credits, whatever, I don't know. But that does mean we can finally upgrade the research center. Here we are. Resource transfer. Oh, that's already, yeah. But anyway, we can do that. But our first major upgrade is done. There we are. Oh no, sorry, that was the first major upgrade, I think. Yes, yeah. So we did that one, but yes. So there we are. We're down to 500,000. But most importantly, we can now unlock our drills. There they are in all their glory. We can set up a refueling station. Got some new science things there, I think. Yes, we can set up a new research station. A new mining station on the moon, or even here on Kerbal. I don't know. We can unlock that. There we are. The anthroco process in the chemical plant. Ooh, we got new things unlocked. There was something that I had an idea of doing, but never really knew whether it was a good idea or not. I'd have to try it. We've got hydrogen as well. Probably some other things we've unlocked there as well. Nope, just 2. The idea I had was basically going over here and setting up a mining facility to mine and turn the minerals into fuel. I don't know what the resources are like here. Let's have a quick look, shall we? I don't think I can do it from here. Nope, I'm going to have to go up to our scanner. And from here, our scanner's had a malfunction of some description. Reaction wheels. Well, from here we can have a maneuver set up. 216 days ago. Yeah, from here we can load up to ScanSat there, overlay control, and we can show ore. And the Kerbal Center is here. We've got 7% ore at the terrain 0. So yeah, so 7% ore means we could set up a mining station there and have it processing into fuel, which means when I launch the craft, I can have them empty of fuel, which saves money. You can have a little tanker going from the refueling station over to the ships, refuel them on the docking on the launch pad, which I know is a little bit more time, but it could save a lot of money. I'm not really sure whether it's worth doing. I'm not sure if anybody else has ever sort of done that sort of thing. I'm sure people have thought about doing that before, but yeah, that's sort of the idea. I just wonder whether it'd be worth all the effort of setting it up, or whether the fuel cost would just make it not worthwhile. This is a bit of a test. This is obviously an orange fuel tank, and it's full of fuel. Boom. It costs 5,700 on its own. If we empty it of fuel completely, it costs 2,008. So it would half the cost of launching craft. If I were, for instance, to open up the Minimus ship that we just launched, that cost 143,000 to launch as a standard. But if I was to empty the fuel out of it, all them, yep. And I'm really not sure how I'd get up to doing them there. I'd have to only empty the ones at the bottom, but we'd save 20 grand. I'm not sure if that's worth doing or not. It'd be an interesting experiment, just so I can get the layout of the fuel refinery, that's the word I'm after, fuel refinery setup. But I don't know whether it would just be worth actually doing or not, or whether that's just something that's a bit... I mean, the other thing as well is food. There's no reason why I couldn't set up a greenhouse or two over there and have them producing food. And store it, and then just load it onto the craft as you would do. Because that, obviously, in real life, that's more how it would be. You wouldn't just be able to magically go, here's a craft full of fuel. You would have to get the fuel from somewhere. It's got to be refined. I just wonder whether I'm making a lot more effort for myself than I really should be, or whether it might be worth doing. I shall ponder that one, and get back to you. Well, a bit of time has passed, and I've done some research into setting up a refinery here at the KSC. Lots of different forum posts I've read, and many other opinions, and basically setting one up is doable. I could put one there, it could mine the ore, it could have a little tug going backwards and forwards to fill up my rocket ships, and it's completely viable and doable. But it's not worth doing. Yes, it would save me a bit of money, but really the best way would be to set up a refinery over there where the ore's slightly higher, refine the stuff, drive it back down here and recover it to make money. It's basically a license to print money, and that kind of takes the fun away. The idea of setting one up sort of there or over here, somewhere around here, and running the fuel in with, say, fuel trucks or something, was just to, I don't know, save a bit of money but not to feel like it was cheating. The best way, however, is simply to go and set one up in orbit, to either put a refinery on the moon or on Minimus and have it produce fuel, bring it back to orbit of Kerbal, and just have it there, have it in orbit, so I could send a smaller craft up to where I need to go, refuel it, and then it can go off to wherever it wants. When you're actually out of the sphere of influence of when you're actually out of the atmosphere of Kerbal, it's a lot less fuel to get anywhere, really. The same amount of delta V to get from the surface of Kerbal to orbit is 3,020 delta V, I think it is, and that's the same amount to get pretty much anywhere in the solar system. Not necessarily to orbit or land or whatever, but it's enough to get out to the furthest planets. Just the same amount of fuel as getting from here up to the sky. So yeah, I think the idea is going to be to look at the moon and look at Minimus and see where we could set a refinery up. So the overwhelmingly popular place to set up a refinery is on Minimus, and that's because it's so damn easy to land and take off from. Sitting down there and taking off again and go back, it's less than 1,000 delta V. I think it's something like 300 to get back from here to Kerbal. So yeah, it's nothing. So it's the best way to do it, and it does have a lot of ore. You hear it's got plenty of ore poked around here. We've got 10% ore here apparently on the slopes. So there's plenty of ore around if I wanted it. The drawback to it is there's no water. We've got a tiny bit right here at the North Pole, which is not even actually registering as 1%, and a tiny bit at the South Pole, which is not. There is no water on Minimus at all. If I wanted to set up a station, it would have to be completely automated. It simply couldn't work with Kerbals because I've got no way to produce water on the surface. I do have ways of doing it with converters, and I'm not sure exactly how they work, but yeah, I could look into that, but I'm not sure. So let's have a look at our other option, that being the moon. The moon, as you can clearly see, does have water. There's another one of my landing X's. That's obviously somewhere I wanted to go before. In that crater, lots of water there. But our base here does have water. It's got 2% water, which isn't a great deal, but it is enough. You can set the drills to mine that water and it will produce enough to hopefully keep Kerbals alive. I don't know the exact figures for it. And obviously at this location we've got 8% ore, so yeah, it's a bit more delta V to get off. I think it's more delta V to get from the moon to Kerbin, even though it's closer, than it is to get from Minimus to Kerbin. I think. I'm not sure. It's obviously less delta V to get from Kerbin to the moon. That's a cheap way of doing it. But landing on the moon is more than Minimus because of the gravity change. So it swings and roundabouts which way to go. I think I'm going to go with the moon. And the reason behind that is simply because we already have a base here. We've already got something set up. Let's actually switch to our moon base. And yes, this is already sat here on the surface. I don't think she's got any power. I know she's got some power left. I'm not sure. Of course, we've got plenty of batteries in here and things. So, and all these are separate parts, which I could have sworn. Oh yes, this was made before I was clocking everything together. So, yeah, this base is already here. It's not on a flat surface, but that doesn't particularly matter. We are on the edge of a crater, I think. Yep, there's a big crater there. But it doesn't really matter. It's here, and we could come along and dock new modules to this and use it as a base. It is viable as a base. It can support 12 Kerbal. I have no way of finding out now, but I believe the contract for this was 12 Kerbal, so it's got plenty of Kerbals there. It's got a little bit of life support, food and water there, which luckily doesn't ever. It must be dry food or something. So yeah, it's here already, and we could turn this into a refining station. It does have a bit of fuel on board already. So yeah, I'm thinking this is a good idea. We could set this as our target for whatever we need. Come in, land, drive over here with my little Kerbal, my little rover things. I didn't put any wheels on this, so this actual base itself can't move. But yeah, I think we shall try and turn this into a refinery. So first things first, I need to figure out exactly how this refining business works. So here we are with what I think is everything needed to get this process working. Kerbalism complicates things somewhat. In the base game, I believe you can have the drill either get ore or water, and from the ore you can produce liquid fuel. I think I've never gone this far on a standard game, so I don't actually know. And if I have gone that far, it's been so long ago, it's probably changed by now. But basically, Kerbalism, this entire side is everything you need, I believe, to make liquid fuel. And this side is the ore. Basically, you've got two drills here. If I deploy the drill, that will start drilling away. And oh, there you go, start it running. And will eventually get me some ore. There we go, 0.5, 0.6. I don't know what my battery charge is like on this. It's probably good. The metal ore then gets smelted in here down to metal, and then the metal can go to a workshop to be produced into rocket parts. That's so straightforward. That's dead easy. That makes sense. This side, however, to produce liquid fuel, we have none of. We need to first have a drill that's drilling water. That's interesting. No ground contact, apparently. That's very interesting. Unfortunately, the K&K drills, inline ones, you can only set to mine ore. They can't mine anything else. So, yeah, not entirely sure why that is there. Let's deploy that one again. Is that still right? They've got to be a lot higher up than they need to be. Okay, so we'll be right back. So, when in doubt, add more. In this case, more wheels. This has worked. We've driven off the runway, and we can now set our drill to extract some water. Let's deploy our solar panel whilst we're at it. So, this will get water, and we'll fill up these two tanks here. Now, once this is full of water, we can have our ISRU to do. We've got water electrolysis and something I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Another process. Yeah. Basically, the first one breaks down water into hydrogen and oxygen, and the second process takes oxygen and hydrogen and creates liquid fuel. So that one system there takes the water from there and produces this here, but we do need a tank for the oxygen and hydrogen there, you can see. So whilst that's filling up there, we then also have to have a second one to create the oxidizer. That's what this does here. The sable tier process, I think, takes hydrogen and carbon dioxide and produces oxidizer. Now, to get carbon dioxide, you either need Kerbal's breathing, which takes a long time, or one of these, a air filter extraction container. Activate air filter, CO2 filter running, and that should pull CO2 out of the air, and fill it up. The biggest drawback to this is I don't think that's going to work on the moon, because the moon has no atmosphere. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that process. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to send this up pretty much, well, not as it is, but this configuration I'll send up, and we'll see whether that actually does produce carbon dioxide or not. I'm not sure, but we'll have to find out. But let's fast forward time a bit until I can actually fill these water tanks up a little bit. And there we are. The sun is rising 3 days later. We have used all our electric charge, so that one solar panel was probably is enough because it is charging, but we needed more solar panels, or we need more batteries. Basically, drills, they take a lot, but it has managed to get 13.24, so it's 27 and a little bit in there, 27 points, and let's start one of these. Water electrolysis first, I think. That's probably going to drain all our power. There we are, dead. So for this, I'm going to bring up the cheat menu, go to cheats, and turn on infinite electricity. Just because this is demonstration purposes, I'm not going to actually be using this. So there we go. That can now be running, and now we are filling up on oxygen and filling up on hydrogen, and our water levels surprisingly aren't going down. Not sure why that is. Not sure why our water levels aren't dropping. Not that. Yep, it's dropping. Okay, so that one drill is enough to keep an ISRU going for the water electrolysis, and we get an awful lot of oxygen and hydrogen from all amounts of water. That's pretty good return. So the next one is this other process, which anthraquinone process. I don't know, whatever that one is. We enable that one, and that one will then take our hydrogen and our oxygen, and it's taking exactly the same amount that it's actually producing, so that's good. And it should be producing here oxidizer, which means that this one, the stable tier process, will take hydrogen and carbon dioxide and produce liquid fuel. Yes, there we are. Right, so I got that slightly wrong. That one produces oxidizer, that one produces liquid fuel. Of course, we're going to use more hydrogen than we're creating because, well, that's how it works. So, yep, I could put more of these. These only have one configure inside them, and the RSIUs have two. So I could, in theory, just have a set of these around in a circle and have each one do an individual task. Which means I could, in theory, have two of them producing oxygen and hydrogen. And, yeah, so that's possible. Kerbalism does have its own chemical plants as well, little tiny ones. I did use one on the original Kinesia station and then never actually used it. Not even the Kinesia station, the original orbital station. But I never did anything with it. But anyway, that's the process for generating liquid fuel. You have to obviously get yourself the water, convert the water into hydrogen and oxygen, and then use the hydrogen oxygen to create oxidizer and hydrogen and carbon dioxide to produce liquid fuel. Which all very much relies on that one there. Carbon dioxide abundance is 1.03%. I don't know whether that's going to be of any use on the moon or not. My guess is no, because there's no atmosphere. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my other save, my sandbox save, and take one of these up to the moon to find out. I'm pretty sure they're not going to. I'm pretty sure of that. So I don't. Yeah, it's I should really just take it up there on this save and try it because, you know, trial and error. But well, I don't really want to lug this all the way up there and find out it's not going to work, because I don't want to just send one. I want to send the whole lot and then find out I need another way to produce some carbon dioxide. So yeah, guess we'll have to figure this out as we go. And here we are on the moon, in my little other save here, and activate that. Not an atmosphere, just as I thought. We can't get any carbon dioxide from the surface of the moon, so we're going to have to try and figure out a different way of doing it. So after many hours of research, I have discovered that the best things to produce carbon dioxide are Kerbals! We're going to have to send a whole crew up to the moon just so they can breathe, and I think I know just the way to do it. First, a quick trip into the research centre to unlock nuclear engines, and also to unlock specialised control so we can get the Werner engines, which we can't do because we need 160. That's a small problem. A small problem that is easily remedied using this wonderful button down here. This allows us to gather all the science from around the KSC that I haven't been grabbing for quite a while. I'm not sure why goo container or temperature scans come up again. Unless now I've upgraded the research centre, that is a different biome to what it was before. Maybe every stage they have a different research one. But anyway, let's click that. And we gain 200 science, back up to 354. Back in here, we can now unlock the Werner engine, like I said. And I should really grab these two before we carry on down the lines. The grabber probably isn't worth it, but let's grab that one as well. And then that tree is almost complete. And this is the space tanker. This is entirely designed to ferry liquid fuel and oxidizer from the moon back to the space station and just go round and round in circles, essentially. Running purely on nuclear power, we've got the rear two, the cargo bay and the rear tail connector here, just filled with liquid fuel, because obviously nuclear engines only use liquid fuel, they don't use oxidizer. It does have a cargo bay here with lots of stuff in it. It's got food supplies, it's got oxygen, carbon dioxide. Obviously we need to pick that up from the station and bring it round. I think pick it up from the station and take it to the moon base. That's what we can do there. And monopropellant, because we need to dock with the little docking port here. It's I was originally going to use the space taxi to do the same thing, but I thought we need something with more fuel storage. So yeah, that's what I've gone with. It's going to have to land on its rear and then be attached probably by the I've forgotten what they're called now. The winches. That's the best way to do it. I'll probably attach a winch thing down here somewhere so we can plug it in and fill it, unfill it, do whatever we need to do with it. It does have enough delta V in its current stage with nothing in there to get from low Kerbal orbit to the surface of the moon and back to low Kerbal orbit just as it stands, if it was like that. Obviously, if we fill these tankers, it can't get back. It hasn't got enough delta V. But when we fill them, we can also refill these, and then it will do. It'll happily sit there. It says 601 here, but it's actually got 2,500 when it's in orbit, because nuclear engines not so great on the surface. In fact, this thing 0.06 surface thrust to weight ratio on the surface. Even if I was to try and launch it now, it would sit there, burn its fuel up, do nothing, irradiate everyone around us. So yeah, this is obviously going to be strapped to the bottom of a big rocket and sent up. It doesn't contain any drills or anything else. We're going to have to send them up separately. But there is one other thing I very quickly would like to show you, and that is this. Using the welding mod, I've put together all the OTP H tanks and bits and pieces to it into this here, basically. This is one piece and contains liquid fuel, oxidizer, monopropellant. It's got, lots of stuff ready for it. It's also autonomous. It does have I think it's in between the two tanks there. When I first put it together, there is a drone, so designed for the OPT system. So this, in theory, I could send these up, and with a couple of engines strapped to them, like the Werner engines, which is what I kind of wanted them for, on the bottom, and with these ones here on the side, on each side. These could quite happily travel between the moon and our station, sort of autonomously. They're not piloted anyway. They would be like little drones flying around. But the wonderful thing about these as well is that they're surface attachments. So I could take the space tanker and slap two of these on the side of it if I wanted to, and it's got all that with it, SAS and drones and everything. So quite useful thing, and quite a cool looking thing as well. I think anyway. I think it's quite quite interesting looking. But anyway, that was the other thing I want to show you. I am going to launch that craft and try and take it up to the station with an engineer, so we can repair something. I'm not sure if we actually need to repair anything. I can't remember. Was it the old station that broke or the new one? I'm going to send an engineer up anyway. So I'll do that between this episode and the next one, and then we shall try and figure out how to get our drills up there and finally mine some resources on the moon. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Until then, as always, have fun.